car fans, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Ral, and this week I'm going to feature a 67 Camaro Pace Car Convertible here. And this is a car that I just always really liked, and when I saw some of them in some of the magazines and I wondered about it, just striking color combination. Loved the blue with the white paint, especially GM. GM really didn't do colored stripes for some reason. You look at muscle cars and what they build, they're usually black stripes or white stripes. They really don't do colored stripes, but this is one of the exceptions. So I had to build this one and just love the car. But finding an original kit is very expensive if you try to find one. So I kind of made my own. But when it comes to researching the car and what constitutes a pace car and a real one versus a not so real one, big debate on that too. So there's some very specific things that you gotta look into. But when it comes to the actual pace cars, there's the festival cars, which there's documentation from Chevrolet that 82 cars were ordered. Those were built specifically for the festival, and then they bumped the order up, and there were some built after also, another 21 cars built after, and those are all accounted for, and they all went to Canada, believe it or not. Canadian dealers got upset because they were left out of the promotion and everything, so enough of them got GM to actually produce another batch of pace cars, 21 of them. Those are documented, and they have pretty much all the same codes as the festival cars, even though GM had a pace setter promotion also, so they pumped out a number of replica cars, which are their factory cars, but they're replica cars. But there's really not a whole lot of codes there too, so there's a lot of confusion, and it's really hard to document what is a pace car and what isn't. When it comes to Indianapolis, this was actually the third time that Chevrolet paced the race, and they were invited to do that, and the Camaro was chosen. The first time that happened was actually in 1948 with a Fleetwood. I haven't really looked into that specific car. The second time was the 1955 Bel Air convertible, which Monogram offered a kit of that, and I built one, and I featured that on the channel. So you can go in my history and look that one up. But when it comes to the 67, this was the third time, and GM really didn't have a whole lot of plan or was expecting the demand for the car to be there for replicas. They really didn't do replicas of the other ones, the 55, because I think 10, 12 of those were made. They really didn't do replicas or plan on doing. But for this race, they really wanted a whole bunch of cars. They really wanted to promote the brand new for 67 Camaro in general, because they're the first year for the Camaro. So initially 82 cars were ordered, and they're not all the same, but there's a lot of same features with them. Those 82 cars, and then there were some that were also converted by dealers, and there were some used at the race, and most of those are documented. And then there's some batches after that as well. Dealers also ordered their own cars, because after GM closed the window, dealers would order blue interior cars, white paint cars, most of the options, and then add the decals and stripes. And there's some of those as well. So there are many different grades of pace cars. But when it comes to the festival cars, there's grades of those too. There were 3 actual pace cars prepped that were intended to pace, and they were pretty much identical, but they had the main car that did most of the pacing. The second car was the backup car. The third car was built exactly the same as the other ones, and same clear coat paint and special paint and everything. And that was meant to go to the winner, which was AJ Foyt. He ended up winning the Indianapolis 500 in 67. So that was destined to go to him, and ironically, he didn't want the car. He did and he didn't. His complaints were he wanted air conditioning and he wanted a power top. So when Chevrolet did a second batch of pace cars, which came later, which I'll get into that, he got one of those cars. So when it comes to the actual pace cars, or what a festival car or a real one is, it has a specific build date, 03C, third week of March, and they were only built in Norwood, so they're R code cars. They had 732-Z bright blue interior with bucket seats, so no bench seat, even though bench seats in Camaros are very rare, but they did exist. And Deluxe seat belts, special paint stripe, and Z23 interior trim group and Z22 Rally Sport package, and of course they were all SS's. And they also had a special 061A fleet pace car code that was specific to the actual pace cars. So when it came to how many they actually produced, those ones, there were 82, and then the extra ones, so they're estimated to be 100 to 102 actual cars at the race between VIPs and everything else. GM produced them, so there's a lot of mud in those numbers. But the registry has like 98 of those cars, which to me is amazing that of all of them, they know those ones, those specific ones. So that's to me pretty amazing that they know how many were done. The documented cars, C-1 paint codes, there's 44 of them. 01 paint codes, there's 33 of those. Then there's the extra ones. The second batch is the Canadian cars, because when they did the Pacesetter promotion, which were the dealer cars, they produced those, but Canada was left out, so the Canadian dealers got pretty upset. So 21 cars were ordered from Canada and shipped up there, and they're documented as well. And it's like an even split too. 11 big block cars and 10 small block cars, or vice versa. It's kind of interesting that they complained and they got GM to make a special batch, and they had all of the actual codes just like the festival cars with the special clear coated paint. And AJ Foyt's car, the actual car that he received, was built in that batch. So that batch was done after the race, but they had all of the codes other than the date code that the actual pace cars have. When it comes to the rest of them, there's 30 of them that got power tops, 37 of them got tinted windshields, 6 of them got all of the glass tinted, 28 of them with power glides, 41 of them got 4 speeds. Now, 19 got the console, 19 got the rear antenna, only 2 with air conditioning, and AJ Foyt's car is one of those 2. 2 of them got the rear speakers. There's one known 3-speed manual car. 47 of them got the special interior group. 49 of them got the 295 horsepower 350. 22 of them got the 325 horsepower 396. And like I said, 10 or 11 of those are Canadian cars. 5 of them got the 375 horsepower 396, which is what I was replicating here. And 44 got the deluxe seat belts, and 9 of them got the appearance group. All of those pace cars, none of them got power windows, none of them got a folding down rear seat, none of them got the 8-track stereo, none of them got the style trim group, the rear defroster, floor mounted clock, remote mirror, and shoulder belts. Of course, shoulder belts, I thought that was kind of funny. I don't think they offered that in the convertible, but that's on the list that they didn't get them. When it came to the rest of them, the Pacesetter cars are the ones that get very confusing, because those are the ones the dealers could order, and it was a Pacesetter promotion, and they could order them, and some of those are the pace cars as well, and varying options. And it's even rumored that supposedly 10 of them are factory pace cars with 327s. Don't think any of those are documented, or maybe there's a few out there, I really don't know. But I read that there was supposedly 10 327 cars. But when it came to actually building this was a challenge. Now, I've got a number of build pictures, so stay to the end and I'll have a bunch of those. I'll throw some up, but I'll put a bunch of those. But I built this back in 2010, 2011, and Revell didn't have their really nice 67 kit out then. It was not long after that it came out, and that's the one I'm building now. But when it came to this one, I had to start with AMT's 67 Z28. And it took a lot of work to change that Z28 into this. Most obvious is cutting the roof off. I also did a Modelhaus resin hood, a Modelhaus resin grill. Unfortunately, Modelhaus isn't with us anymore. I modified the seats. There's a lot of things I had to do to this thing. And I also used MPC's 69 Camaro. That gave me the boot here. I'm not really sure where the sun visors came from. I kind of don't remember. And also the big block engine. So this one has the 396, and I was trying to do it as one of the high horsepower ones, but that intake manifold should actually be aluminum when it came to the 375 horsepower version. But it's got the chrome air cleaner. And this motor, getting it to fit in there was kind of difficult, and it was hitting the hood too. So getting the Modelhaus hood to fit was kind of a challenge. And I had to thin it, so there's a lot of sanding and smoothing on the bottom side to get it to fit, because it didn't want to fit the cowl here. But getting that engine in there, getting the exhaust manifolds to fit into the frame, I had to notch the subframe a little bit, or the cross member under there. The grill was an easy fit for Modelhaus, but there was a lot of just shaping and trimming. Decals are Keith Marks decals. I didn't really clear coat this one. I believe I used maybe an aerosol clear, something of that nature. But and getting this pinstripe on here, this Keith Marks decal, getting that to follow, that was kind of a pain. The rear tail panel, even on the big block cars, was ermine white. It was not painted black. Your traditional Camaro would have the blacked out tail panel. Then I modified the bucket seats. So if you've ever seen the AMT 67 seats, they're big and square. Matter of fact, here's a photo of one I didn't modify and one I did. The Revell seats are much nicer now. And you can see the photo etched emblems in the interior. See on the door panel there. I got the window cranks and the emblems. Did the shifter and the gauges right in the center of the console there. There you go. Those came out nice. The dash came out pretty good. I flocked the interior, so that's the carpet, and of course it's got the console. And a deluxe interior, which is nice. That's pretty much in there. And then the boot from the MPC 69. And then I used the photo etched emblems here. So I did use those. And Keith Marks decal, which I had a little bit of a wrinkling issue on this one. You can kind of see it there. This one's not really my best work, but this one was a challenge. I had a lot of issues getting some of this stuff to fit and getting it to work. But and then I also did this nice little license plate, 67 Pace, and glued it on there. And I believe I foil cast these emblems and our backup lights and put them on there. They came out pretty cool. Don't really remember what I cast them off of. I think it was a different car, and it was like a side marker light that I had used, but it was about the perfect shape and worked out really nice. The photo etched SS gas cap. And then even though these really aren't the Rally Sport taillights, they're very faint for 67, so I just painted the whole lens with the stoplight red, and came out really cool. So I'm really happy with this one and how it came out. And but I get tempted to build another one, especially with the Revell kit. Hopefully Revell comes out with the convertible kit and you get everything all in one kit. That would be really nice. But that's open. Who knows what Revell's going to come out with next. Even this AMT kit being the Z28, it's really a nice kit if you've ever built it. One of the nicer AMT kits. But thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and all of your comments, and hit that bell button and the like button. Really appreciate all of that. And you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday.